Large increase in crew losses. The number of people estimated to be killed or reported missing due to losses. Oh, I love this one, right? So this is actually one of the news articles that I bring up anytime people like talk about whether or not we have crews on our ships. The number of people estimated to have been killed or reported missing due to the loss of space vessels has increased substantially, according to a joint report presented to the Concord Assembly by the Adonis Foundation and the Sisters of Eve. The report notes that a significant portion of the large increase in crew losses is due to the destruction of capsular vessels in unknown regions of space. The new analysis includes the first few months of capsular expedition into abyssal dead space, in addition to the regularly assessed casualties suffered in Anoikis, commonly known as W space. In a supplementary note for the attention of the Assembly, the Adonis Foundation drew attention to the additional, quote, rise in incidents of loss with all hands of a civilian shipping along the less secure routes of security-rated space, particularly in a broad swath of regions, including Aridia, Conid, Toshmerkon, Divoolej, Derelict, and Molten Heath. It's worth noting that Molten Heath is important because Molten Heath was the epicenter of Dust 514. The vast majority of the events of Dust 514 occurred in Molten Heath. The Adonis Foundation noted that the number of ship losses in this category of unexplained disappearances had increased threefold in the last year and urged investigation into the possible causes, such as increased pirate activity and the emergence of drifters, sleeper, and Triglavian threats. When asked about the figures for capsular-piloted vessels, which estimate the rate of ship crew losses in terms of millions, SOE spokesman Atiri Kudash said, the number of non-capsuleers lost every day in New Eden is already staggering. But unlike crews in Nose Space, those lost in Anoikis, or now abyssal dead space, are almost impossible to find and safely recover. It is simply too difficult for search and rescue teams to reliably track escape boats and survival pods in Anoikis. It is impossible in abyssal dead space. The dangers of serving a crew aboard capsular-piloted starships are well documented as a less than safe career choice. Even so, the high demand for skilled crews and support staff keeps billions of people employed, while smaller capsular-piloted starships require a very limited number of crews, most of the larger vessels require crews numbering in the hundreds to thousands. Quote, there are just too many moving parts or complex systems that you can't trust to computers and drones, end quote, said Dejan Mendel, veteran of 6 tours of duty aboard capsular starships across the cluster. A propulsion system engineer, Mendel went on to describe how he survived the destruction of an Obelisk-class freighter that he had served on for several months. It's really just a split-second difference between life and death out there. Sometimes the pilot makes the right choice and your armor and shields are holding out just fine, and everyone breathes a sigh of relief. Next, you hear automated sirens telling everyone in the ship that the ship's at 3/4 hull strength and everyone needs to get to their escape pods. Big ships like freighters give you a few seconds more to get out, but if you're deep in engineering or an interior maintenance bay, it can be dicey. I've been lucky, to tell the truth. Provisions for crew safety on capsular vessels include numerous safety features such as small boats, escape pods, and long-term survival suits. The SEC also makes available life insurance and financing of static backup clones for space crews on highly favorable terms. Despite these measures, the SOE believes not enough is being done to prevent crew losses aboard capsular ships. In closing her presentation, SOE spokesman Atiri Kudash said, we at the SOE encourage capsuleers to think about their actions and consider their crews when making their voyages into the unknown. We believe that capsular pilots should be held more accountable for their duty of care to ship crews. These are men and women on those vessels who have families that rely on them and are waiting for their return home. We should think of those families, and Concord should address the needless risks that are taken by capsuleers when they travel to unknown regions, such as Anoikis and abyssal dead space.